Hi, and we're
Oh,
back.
yes.
Yeah, and then Tremonti's solo project.
If you want to be a great drummer, you must be named Matt.
I feel like you just described Drew and Dominic.
If I could ask myself that question, here's what my answer would be. Dude.
Ding.
Hi, and we're back for another episode of Welcome to the Medins.
Yes.
There we go. And today I want to talk about music. Like, that's a huge part of our lives.
Probably the only reason that people know us.
Yeah, and I mean, other than that, there's a lot of us and our grandma. Music has been a huge part of our lives for over 20 years now, where it has led to several international trips for us, getting to play abroad, along with several national trips, and not only as our own band, but us, like different ones of us, getting asked to fill in for other bands and like other musicians and bands, getting to play with some really cool people. I wish that Drew was here today because I think he'd be a lot of fun to be able to talk with about this stuff, because his basically daily life since he graduated from Winona State, not a plug, but from Winona State, has been music. It's huge for us and really important. We could honestly talk with you for years about it, but today want to talk a little bit more about like musical influences, because if you listen to our music, you will find different styles in one CD. You will find kind of the inclusion of even different styles within one song because of the different music that we all listen to. But let's start with Peach. Peach, who are some of your musical influences? Who do you love listening to, and how has that kind of inspired your playing personally?
Yeah, I think we can all agree that Switchfoot is probably one of the biggest influences on this entire house. I mean, even down, I was just talking to Catherine last week, maybe a week before, and she was telling me how much Switchfoot has meant to her over the years, just as a band. You know, they write great creative music too, which is awesome.
And their lyrics are awesome.
Yeah,
Good job, John and band.
And the tickets aren't overly pricey.
Yeah,
and they're just generally nice guys too. Like we've had a chance to meet them, and it never felt like we were an inconvenience or like we're just like they were going, we're just here because we're paid to be here. You know, we'll tolerate the fans in these discussions for as long as we're paid to. That wasn't the case at all. They were really nice. But yeah, Switchfoot. And people are gonna hate me for this, but Creed.
Why would people hate you for that?
episode.
So
ends.
my goodness. So you know how people feel about you guys know how people feel about Nickelback?
Yeah.
It's like cool to hate Nickelback. Creed was that before. And I mean they sang about different things, right? I know that the lead singer had a lot he was trying to hash out when it came to like figuring out how his faith had an influence on his upbringing, or whether or not it had an influence on his upbringing and stuff. And Nickelback tends to sing a lot about
partying
and yeah,
just unimportant stuff.
Well, I mean, they have, to be fair, like I've listened to not like a lot of Nickelback, but enough to tell you that there are some deep cuts in there that have very meaningful lyrics. And it's unfortunate that those ones get kind of buried by like the party anthem songs. But anyway, Creed, they were my first like exposure to riffage, like guitar riffage and killer guitar tone. And so I've been following their guitar player since I discovered Creed back in like 2003 or whenever that was. Mark
Tremonti.
Yep. Mark Tremonti is their guitar player, really great songwriter, really great guitar player. Pretty well known, tends to be a trailblazer for a lot of people within his genre. But yeah, so Creed, and then Alter Bridge.
Which still has Mark Tremonti.
Yep, and then Tremonti's solo project.
There's a theme here if you haven't noticed.
Yeah. And then Dream Theater. Like Mark Tremonti and John Petrucci, the guitar player from Dream Theater, like those are my two main guitar influences because both of those guys are super innovative and their guitar tone is great. And like I said about Tremonti earlier, like both of them are trailblazers within their genres and have been major influences on a lot of guitar players that came after because they're not afraid to try stuff and just write the music that they want to write. Like, and it never sounds like they're writing for the genre. It always sounds like they're just writing whatever is fitting for their band and the direction that they want to go. I don't know if that makes sense, but those two guys are probably my two greatest influences as guitar players.
And Daniel?
I mean, of course, Switchfoot. And I honestly haven't taken a lot of time recently to listen to a lot of music and to find like new artists and things that I would find really cool. But what I try to style my stuff is kind of the
as an electric violinist.
Yes, thank you. As an electric violinist, style my stuff just in a way that people be like, I've never heard that before. You know, just kind of that doesn't follow any genre that I know of right now.
That doesn't follow the rules. It's true. If you take a look at, as a guitar player, if you take a look at Daniel's pedal board, there is some amount of, what were you thinking? Why are all those things put together? But it always sounds good.
One of the artists we actually played with, and he said it jokingly, so it was hilarious. He was like, that's overkill for a violin. I was like, I know it is. It's awesome.
His pedal board does look like a guitarist pedal board, and you're just like, oh, what kind of guitar are you playing? That's a weird looking guitar.
Another artist,
that boss pedal is a real deep cut there, buddy.
Another artist is like, so you have an electric guitar? Or he was like, so you play electric? Of course, I thought he was talking about violin. I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, what guitar do you have? And it's like, oh, no, I don't play guitar. I play violin.
I'm a real musician.
6-string, short scale.
He's like, wait, that's for your violin? I said, yeah. He goes, but that's electric guitar stuff. And I was like, yep. That sounds great with the violin.
It's heavily influenced by his two older brothers that play a lot of guitar, who talk and could talk gear for ridiculous amounts of time.
I think actually a lot of my you guys talk about like the artists, you know, of other bands that influence you guys musically, but I actually rely a lot of my music taste actually relies a lot about what you guys are listening to. You, Sean, Drew. I ask you guys, hey, what's the cool stuff you've heard recently? And Drew will send me
lots of things,
which are awesome. Like Cartoon Theory, I think is one of those oddball albums that I just actually really enjoy listening to. And I'd listen through the album and be like, all right, now let's listen to the remixes. All right, now let's start over.
Yeah, Drew always has some like super deep cut of bands that you've never thought you would hear, who are, you know, probably feel much like us, where like we aren't out touring as much as we like to be right now, but somehow Drew's heard of them. And I think a lot of it probably goes to his wife, who knows all those different bands and finds them just through like scouring the internet. But I really like, I mean, I'm the drummer primarily. I do play some guitar.
Oh, yes, Sean, what do you like?
Oh, yeah.
What inspires you, Sean?
If I could ask myself that question, here's what my answer would be.
Okay, well, let's give that a try for a second there. You want to ask yourself a question?
Yeah.
All right, Sean, so what kind of drums do I like?
Oh, thank you for asking. My all-time favorite drummer for his character and how he did get me going was Chad Butler from Switchfoot. When
I feel like I should have said Switchfoot at the same time.
I know. When we met them, as PJ had mentioned, and we had briefly talked about the story in the episode that we released after we went and saw them live over in Iowa, was he sat down and talked to me when we were there with help to help as kids the best we could the creation of the Stars music video. And he just talked to me, and just real nice, genuine guy, and that just forever placed him in like top spot of favorite drummer. But then Lester Stell Jr., amazing drummer.
The drummer from Pillar, and now he plays in Kelly Clarkson's band.
Yep. And he's just solid. Like his internal metronome is just on point, but he also just knows the instrument. He has incredible chops for being able to just create on the spot, and even the simple stuff that he plays sounds way better than if I tried and mimic that same thing, because he just lives and breathes it. But then there's a series of Matts out there that I really like listening to as well, more on the metal side. Matt Greiner, Matt Garska, Matt Halpern, Matt Christofferson. It's like a requirement. If you want to be a great drummer, you must be named Matt. And yes. I've honestly thought about changing my name a few times just so I could be like, now I can get to the upper echelon of drumming capabilities.
The Matt Christofferson from the wonderful X band of Chug Chug Wob.
Yes, and now current band Cutlass. So if you guys ever want to hear Matt, like just go check out Cutlass's new stuff. He's their touring drummer and somehow humble enough to still be our friend, which is pretty cool. But I kind of vary in this odd space between metal, gent, and like gospel funk. And so finding creative ways that don't break one's brain to play those styles together, that's where I like to sit and
probably
create music there.
Like 80% of the stuff that you play, 80% or more, is worship music. And it's definitely a weird combination of genres, but I think one of the things that is often overlooked about technical genres like metal and any genre that's sprung up from it, like gent, is that there's a lot of work and skill that has to go into playing in those genres. Mm-hmm. Like you have to be good. You have to be tasteful. And I know that people think metal is just a lot of noise. And while I'm not going to say that there aren't any bands out there that are just noise, a lot of the well-known metal bands, their people really know what they're doing and can probably play circles around drummers from so many other genres. What's the name of the Instagrammer dude what's his shtick? It's like if a worship band accidentally hires a metal drummer.
Oh, I don't know his handle, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's super funny.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to see if I can find him here before the end of the episode, but he makes these videos where he plays metal themed drum parts over well-known worship and gospel tunes, and the stuff that he comes up with is better when it comes to like serving the groove of the song itself. It's so much more fitting, and it's not like he's trying to merge together several different genres of drums for these videos. He's just doing like, this is how a metal drummer would play in this worship song, and it's right, and it sounds better than what was originally recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
he does a great job.
Somebody.
Yeah.
I have a name in mind, but I don't know if I can pronounce it. It's MATHIEUX_Davis.
Yes, that's him. Yeah, there is. I assume that's. I think the first name is supposed to be pronounced Matthew. I could be wrong. MATTIEUX. Last name Davis. And his Instagram page is filled with lots of those videos. Like, if a worship team accidentally hired a metal drummer, this is how it sounds. And it always sounds great. But that's the thing about metal, is it's very groove oriented. So you can take metal techniques and easily apply them to other genres and make those genres sound better for it. And so I think it's you kind of treated it like it was this weird thing. You're into metal and gent and gospel, but all of those three genres, like they're very technical, very groove oriented, and on account of that, work together very well.
Yeah. And I love finding ways to incorporate those into worship music. And a goal I do have usually when I'm playing with PJ is to throw him off by throwing in something that you would not anticipate in the worship music that we play. And so there have been a couple instances where it's I don't even know which worship song it was, but it was an upbeat one that I created a double bass groove for, and then it has like this pause, like most every single worship song has at some point, where it builds and it stops and then everything comes in. Well, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling a little extra metal today, and so I
had a
threw in
healthy dose
an
of
upside down bell. And at that pause, I thought through my metal mind, and I just like, ding,
Ding.
and then, and then broke down, like doubled back. Super awesome part. And PJ was responsible for singing that song, and he had to stop because he started laughing. I was like, yes, goal accomplished.
Yeah, that's happened a few times. I feel like all of my siblings are skilled in that. I took that because I play drums every now and again. I took that same trick and I played it on Drew when we were it was some Sunday morning at High Point, and I was playing drums, and there was build up to a break, and I hit the bell in that spot, and Drew just looked over at me and this big grin on his face. But yeah, I feel like all you guys are good at that. I know we were doing some Lincoln Brewster tune. I don't remember which one in particular, but there's this break after the bridge where it's supposed to be just like drums or whatever. And Drew comes in with this really cool, slappy, groovy bass part. And if you rewatch the video, you hear me doing my darndest to be able to keep singing while also laughing.
Because worship music is fun.
It should be fun. It should absolutely be fun. I think people would go, well, that's distracting. And I'd sit there and go, well, then you're not truly focused on worship, are you? But
we're worshiping the King through humor and
giving
through the
him
gifts he gave us,
and giving him our best too.
Let's talk. Let's quickly mention the amazing musician who dances his heart out on stage when he's playing bass, Dominic Bersano.
Yeah,
as long as we're talking about musicians we admire.
Yeah, Dom is an incredible bassist who used to be one of Drew's students, and so very quickly picked up everything that Drew did and then put his own spin on it to become an equally amazing bassist. That there's bassists I have played with and bassists I would love to play with. And for me being a drummer, like a bassist is really important. You know, one that you can really groove with and get in the kind of the same mindset with. Drew being the top, Dom being right there with him, our friend Seth Christopherson, Matt Christopherson's brother, and then, you know, one day like Victor Wooten, and you know,
that'd be great.
Yeah, and then our friend Steve Bertoyan too, who's a great bassist as well. That just like, if you play bass, keep it up, keep practicing and doing, like, just getting better in every way, shape, and form that you can, because you make a drummer's life so happy if you can slap at the bass, if you can basically play it like a lead guitar, or even if you just play it so simply, but you're so on point and creative in your rhythmic patterns. I want to play with you if that's you.
I feel like you just described Drew and Dominic.
Yeah,
right
I pretty much just described those two. And so if you want to hear basically them, just listen to, like, this isn't a shameless plug, but like listen to our music, because Drew brings out that creativity in our music in a way that you don't always get to on, say, a Sunday morning. But like, I love playing with a good bassist.
Drew's got a really great bass solo section coming up in one of our new songs.
Which, before we get into that, Peach, I think your apparel is pretty appropriate for the topic.
Oh, yes.
Here comes the
Um,
reveal.
So there's this Christian clothing company called Kingdom and Will, and they're just totally unashamed in the way that they put their faith out there. Like, they don't back away from it for a second, and they make really comfortable shirts. This is I really don't monitor the podcast space. I don't know what is and isn't acceptable. But
I don't look at any.
but yeah,
YouTube's
they
new
make these
terms.
really great, super soft, comfortable t-shirts that like fit the way that you expect. I know sometimes when you order clothes online, you kind of have to like check reviews and see, does this fit the way that you expected it to fit? This does. It's stylish, it's soft, it's got a great message on the front. You know, our family is big into worship. That says worship right out there. I also have one of their hats. It says grace, lest any should boast, on the front. And this is also not like a new hat. And I wear it all the time, and it's still in really great shape. And I've been a baseball cap dude for even since before I started losing my hair.
Yeah.
And trust me, if you wear hats as often as I wear hats, you can wear through them pretty quick. This one holds up. But yeah, really great messages on all their stuff. Really great designs. Nothing obnoxious or cheesy. If you like the long body t-shirts, I think that's what these are called. They make them. They also do regular t-shirts and sweatshirts and accessories and all sorts of great things. And if you're interested in checking them out, check out our video description. We'll throw a link down there. And if you use the code PJ Medin at checkout, you'll get 15% off your order, and that's PJMEDIN.
Well, there you have it. You guys got to go get some new clothes, especially if you're in the worship space. If you aren't still super fashionable, and you should just go get it anyway. Because, I mean, we all care about clothes and clothes that last a long time. So that's super important.
And this isn't the first time I've worn one of their shirts in an episode of Welcome to the Medins.
That's true. I think you did the last one too.
Yeah, well, right.
And the one
No,
before that.
sometime a ways back, I wore one that just said Jesus in this really cool bluish color. I'm not like an expert in shades, and we don't have any of the girls here to correct us. It was like, I don't know, really cool sky blue color with great design. Anyway, just go check out the episode. I'm sure Sean can link out to that episode somewhere at the end of this video.
You're gonna have some work ahead of you there.
So many links I gotta throw in, like the link to Humble. If you want to increase your scent game, get yourself some all natural deodorant and soaps. That's a pretty short plug this time. But man, I love talking about music. Yeah, I always get so excited anytime we talk about it, and I just want to keep talking about it.
One point, all our viewers are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, you talk about it every snippet video."
I do. Because it's so important. Like, music is the thing that can cross cultural boundaries, racial boundaries, whatever the boundary may be. Music creates the bridge over that. And so you could talk with someone across the world that you never met who comes from a completely different background about music. And they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, these are my favorite bands. You may not know the band, but you have bands that you like. They like music. You like music. Maybe actually there might be some crossover there, and have great conversations, open up amazing relationships. Like, the band and playing music has opened the door for us to be able to meet so many people that I don't think we ever would have been able to meet otherwise, and be able to have these conversations, whether a musician or just a music lover. It's something that you want. And the world is full of music. You got music in stores. You got music in your car, on the radio, music in podcasts, music just for music's sake, music in movies. It's everywhere.
And Sean, you know a word you said that now sticks in my mind. You said it's the bridge. Speaking of,
music led us there too.
That's true. That's our church on Thursday nights here in Northfield, Minnesota.
Held at the City Light building.
Yeah, where you can hear us play music and throw in some of that fun stuff that we were talking about that we keep incorporating in our music. with PJ as our worship leader, he really enables that creative space where he goes, you're here for the Lord, so give him your best. And that's what we do. We do have another music thing I would like to bring up in this episode as well that is coming up this year. With the last couple minutes we have, it's called Backyard Bash.
Yes.
I'm very excited about that. October 5th. We're still looking for some bands, but we already have a pretty good building lineup.
Yeah, we actually, I don't think we're going to do like the 15 to 18 band thing. I think when we did like the 10 band thing, that actually was probably better, in my opinion. I guess we can talk about it more later. But as far as like bands go, we're doing okay in that regard right now. Like if you're going to be in the Minnesota area in early October, and you're in a band and you're interested in playing, certainly reach out. But the one area that we're really not hurting in, but we could use some more of, is like solo duo acts. That'd be great. We have a couple right now, but it'd be good to get a couple more, I think.
So reach out. We're also looking for some more food vendors. We're going to do a live version of Welcome to the Medins, which I'm really excited and super nervous about. You'll get to see our band Breakthrough along with some others. So head on over to the Facebook page. Follow us there. Also, if
Facebook.com/backyardbash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're going to reach out to us through breakthroughrocks.com/contact. That is breakthroughrocks.com/contact.
And because it was pronounced slower and a little bit louder, you'll get it. So on top of the umpteenth link, I'm going to have to add at the bottom of our description.
80% of the video is just going to be links.
Videos.
Yes.
Not as much as the last video we had. But if you want to be able to keep up on what we're doing, music festivals, the podcast, the band, some other things that we have going on in the works right now, hit subscribe on our channel. There you're going to get all the latest updates, whether it be seeing our daily shorts or getting our weekly episodes. So also hit that little bell so you get notified.
You will hit subscribe.
Star Wars references. You can also find us on Instagram. Follow us there. Go on Facebook. Like us there. And you can now actually listen to us on Spotify.
What?
I know. Head on over to Spotify. Press follow and give us a review too. That kind of helps increase our visibility. And we'd also just like to hear your feedback. We look forward to seeing you next time on
Welcome to the Medins.
Yeah. I was going to say Backyard Bash.
We look forward to seeing you next time on Welcome to the Medins.